Hello, welcome. My name is Chris. This is Have a Tea with me. We are here for English language conversation practice. So if you are learning English, you need to practice your conversation skills, your speaking skills. We are here for you. All you need to do is to click on the link that you will see in the chat. You click on that link, you can come on through to the studio and you can speak with us live and talk about whatever you want to talk about. It's completely up to you. Maybe there's some new vocabulary that you've learned or seen you want to practice. You can certainly do that. Perhaps you have a particular situation coming up. So maybe you're going into different meetings, perhaps, or maybe you're going traveling and you need to practice what you might say at the airport or ordering something like that. Lots of different sort of situations. So let us know and we can practice any or all of those. Or maybe just want a little bit of chit chat. Maybe you just want to practice talking about the weather, very general things, maybe introducing yourself to other people, talking about your interests, all of those sorts of things. So that's available for you. Well, it's a little bit too hot, a bit too hot for me at the moment. Just going to wait for that tea to cool down. So we're here every day, Monday to Friday at 12 o'clock Universal Time. If you're watching us on the replay, hello. You can, if you're looking at this and you're thinking 12 o'clock Universal Time is not right for me, send us an email, chatonlessonjigsaw@gmail.com. That's chatonlessonjigsaw@gmail.com. Let us know where you are in the world, your time zone, and some general times and days where you might be available to speak, and we can see if we can arrange a live stream for then and have a chat with you then. So there you go. That's for you. Happy to hear from you. You'll see the email address running down the bottom of the screen throughout the program. So what is today? When this broadcast is going out live, it is Wednesday the 4th of May in most of the world, 2022. Okay. How has your day been? How has your day been? How has your day been? Have you had anything or done anything exciting? Any news? Has it been an ordinary day? Just business as usual sort of thing, or anything special happened today? So we'd like to hear about. Let us know in the comments. So you can either type in the comments or, as I say, click on through. Now, if you're watching on Twitter, you won't be able to see that link. So you need to go to either Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch to see that link. So unfortunately, you won't see that link in Twitter, but it's if you come to one of the other three, you can certainly access that. I'm going to have a glass of water while I'm waiting for the tea to cool down. It's good to be hot, isn't it, with the tea or the water to get the flavor out, but afterwards, I don't know, for me anyway, I need a little bit of time for it to settle down and that sort of thing. Okay, now for conversation, I'm here by myself at the moment, so we need some inspiration, something to talk about. So recently we've been looking at different pictures and photos and stuff, and also looking at different news websites from around the world and different places. And let's have a look. Today we're looking at this is what you can obviously see. It's called Japan Today. So I'm not sure how big Japan Today is in Japan for people living in Japan, maybe for expats living in Japan. So let's get that note down. It's an interesting word, expats. Expats living in Japan may read this news site, the news site or newspaper, whatever. So expatriates, so people were originally from other countries, but now living are normally working in another country, in this case, Japan. So, okay, so, and I guess if you're an English speaker or person learning English, maybe this could be one of the websites that you look at in Japan for the local news. I suppose would be the idea, and it's pretty much arranged in a similar way to the other ones, although they seem to have a lot of different info at the top. So they've got like real estate, for example, here. So if people, I guess, looking at information or details about buying property or renting, perhaps, or just places that are available, different areas to buy or rent, maybe contained in real estate. So hotels. So this could be, it seems to be catering a little bit for everyone. So hotels, I guess, if you're going traveling, perhaps from people from overseas or locally, classified. So people having their different ads if they want to promote something or sell something or a service. And then we've got travel, study, and jobs and health. So it's like a little bit of everything for everyone almost. And then you have the news topics here from different things. Interesting, they've got an individual heading or category for crime. If people want to know what's happening in terms of crime news. So that's interesting. But they've also got tech as well. I don't think we've seen tech on any of the other ones. Maybe I think on the BBC one, we saw tech. But they've been on a few, like sometimes obviously there are tech stories, but the tech heading up the top, we haven't seen. So obviously they've got like a huge photo at the front. It's a very dominant photo. I'm not sure if they do this all the time. They just have like their main photo for whatever their main story is. But I guess maybe that's just the way they set it out. But it's interesting. Now, of course, for the location of Japan is very close to North Korea. So I guess anything that happens with North Korea is of importance. So you can see the latest news. We've got North Korea launches missile towards sea. Kishida calls it a threat to peace. Kishida, I don't know. Maybe that's my bad knowledge. I think Kishida is the prime minister, I think, of Japan. I think that would make sense anyway, just from the general idea there. But let's assume. And so of course that would be a major story if that sort of thing happens. Now, what is particularly good about this is that you can also see the amount of comments. And I always think it's a really good thing when you're reading a newspaper story and you want to practice English and learn English. It's good to read the information, read the news and that sort of thing. But another good thing is to also interact, because normally that's when you're just receiving the information. You don't necessarily use it too much, perhaps. But if you can immediately comment, you could just comment, of course, to the people around you, or like we are here having conversation. But if you comment inside the news article, there could be it's a good opportunity for practice and that sort of thing. How are you, Sonia? Hope you're doing well. Good to hear from you. What's been happening? How have things been? It's what's that? Wednesday, middle of the week. Middle of the week. Is it a good time? Middle of the week for you, Sonia? It's I don't know. I guess half the week done. Half the week to go. It's smack bang in the middle. Smack bang in the middle. There's an expression. How often you hear that? I don't know. Occasionally, maybe you might hear. Smack bang in the middle of the week. It was like you're putting like a dart or a mark in the middle of a page, but in this case, just a more metaphorical thing. So you don't actually see it. Uh, Excellent. Good to hear. Good to hear. Happy to see you as well. Well, I can't actually see you, but good to see your messages. I guess is the idea there. Okay, so let's check out. I saw a curious story here before, and you've got some interesting headlines anyway of different things. But you've got Beijing. There's, in terms of like actual Japanese stories, there seems to be only like directly two. I'm assuming this woman who was arrested over attempted murder. I'm assuming that's in Japan, and then there's the COVID update. But yeah, it's a curious thing. Now, I saw this story and I thought this was something curious. It's already got 24 comments, but let's have a look. So, hotel guest who boiled crabs, and we can see some pictures of crabs there, just so we can get the idea. Hotel guest who boiled crabs in room's kettle, angry at having to pay for damages. Now, I suppose that's a word that could be used is inventive. This person is very inventive, just not even reading the story, just the idea. This person is very inventive. Maybe even ingenious. Maybe even ingenious. It's like sort of like above genius. It's like incredible thinking from this, I say person to boil the crabs. Is like, how am I going to do it? Interesting that it sounds as though, without having read it, it sounds as though they put the crab into the kettle. How big the kettle is, because obviously normally the kettle is used for boiling water, like if you want a cup of tea or coffee or something like that. Well, that's pretty much all it's used for, isn't it? In a hotel. But I wonder if they actually put the crabs inside the kettle. I imagine they did, which would be unusual, I would say. But let's have a look. Okay, there we go again with the big image of the crabs. Let's explore this. So the hotel guest who boiled crabs in room's kettle, angry at having to pay for damages. Okay. Now this is interesting. The story is by Sora News 24. I don't know what that is. I wonder if that's just like an agency that writes stories. Okay. So let's scroll down a bit. Okay. So as reported by legal news website Bengoshi.com, an unidentified hotel was claiming damages of 40,000 yen from a guest who, over a stay of several days, used the electric kettle in their room, so reading here, to boil crabs on 2 occasions. Now, so we question if we're looking at our question words, because we always want to try and think of information and engage in the conversation. So if you just hear this story and then you see this, okay, so the person used the kettle twice to boil crabs. What questions would you think of? I don't know, for me, I guess the first question I would have is, how did they find out? How did they find out? Now, maybe they were crab shells in the rubbish bin. So they found crab shells. But that doesn't tell them that he or she used the kettle. So how did they know? So perhaps it is hilarious, isn't it? It's like this is not the story you expect to be reading, is it? But it is. That's quite funny. But so did the housekeeping staff. So the housekeeping staff in the hotel, possibly found crab shells in the kettle. I wonder if this is the situation. So they were just trying to clean up, moving things around, putting things in order. They look in the kettle and they go, oh, what are the crab shells doing inside the kettle? And then, like, what did they do after that? Did they go, oh, speak to the supervisor or something? You know, the walkie-talkie that they have. Maybe they spoke to the supervisor on their walkie-talkie. On their walkie-talkie. Maybe said, what do I do with this? Spoke to their to their. Yes, it's a good little squiggly line. To the supervisor, or their supervisor, on the walkie-talkie. But so who knows? This is like just incredible, the process that would have gone here. But let's see if we can find out some answers here. So the hotel said that the makeshift. Oh, we've seen this word a couple of times, but this is a nice word to sort of have for. It's not going to be used all the time, but it can be used sometimes. And I guess perhaps that's sort of part of the definition in a way. So the makeshift, something is makeshift. You just use something to do a job, but it's not the normal instrument or the normal way that you would do something. It's like, for example, like in a different sort of way. Say like you want to play football, but you don't have a ball, so maybe you get like some tape. And you just put the tape around itself, so you make something in a ball shape. Exactly, like Josh is saying here, homemade. So you just sort of I'm not sure if you ever saw the TV show MacGyver. He was very good at making makeshift sort of stuff, just to make it work. Just doing whatever needs to be done to make it happen. Thank you, Josh, for that contribution. Good to see you here. So the hotel said the makeshift cuisine. It's interesting to say it's the cuisine was makeshift rather than the method. But anyway, I would normally say the method of doing this was, or the makeshift cooker or something like that, caused an odor. Okay. And we can see, again, if we just sort of highlight something from this is just an aside. If we look at this spelling here of odor, O-D-O-R, so we can tell straight away that the influence of this writer is with American English, because we can see from this spelling it's O-D-O-R, and if it's British English, O-D-O-U-R. Is that important? Not necessarily, but only just for me to give a reason to you to highlight that if you're writing something in English, generally it's a good idea to run it through a spell check, particularly if it's something in a professional context. Run it through a spell check so that you see that the spelling is consistent for whichever type of English. It's not necessarily gonna, make or break the impression that you give, but it's a nice little attention to detail that you can give. So Sonia's saying, I think that they wanted to eat scrabs. I'm going to say, I don't know, which that's crabs. They eat crabs, but they didn't want to pay a big amount of money. So they decided to buy the crabs and cook them in the hotel. That's probably the case. The thing may be, I'm not sure actually how much 40,000 yen is, but let me do a quick search. So 40,000 yen. Let's convert to US dollars as a general thing. So that's not the cheapest. So it's like $300. 300 US dollars is the penalty. So I was gonna say maybe that it's because the price for the crabs, if they bought it in the hotel, might have been about equivalent. So it doesn't really matter. But then again, I don't know how expensive crabs are or seafood is in Japan, but perhaps in a hotel it could be expensive. We don't know the hotel, so it's hard to say, but I think you could be right there. Obviously, I think anything, if you do something in the hotel room, it's either for A, convenience, or B, because the other prices are too expensive, or you just don't want to, pay something that you could do yourself at a cheaper cost, perhaps. So this is, I guess we can talk about crabs being a type of seafood, but it's also a shellfish, because it's a fish where you have the shell and you have to break it into, what's the other word, a crustacean. Crustacean, let me just check the spelling. Some of these words, they can be difficult. So you got crustacean. So so that type of food that we have from the sea. Because you also have things like lobster and what else? Lobster and whatever, shellfish. You have things like mussels and oysters and that sort of thing. But I think you could be right there. But let's see, maybe they might have a comment from the guy. Obviously, there's going to be a comment because we know he's angry, or he or she is angry. So there was an odor that was difficult to remove. Okay, so maybe they didn't see, but they smelt it. But I wonder if you could have the same smell if you just had the crabs in the room. Like if you ordered them and you bought them from a takeaway or something, and you brought the crabs to the room and you eat them or leave them in the room. Because I imagine if you just you eat them, you leave them in the room, there's going to be a smell perhaps, because that happens like with other things like prawn. I know there's some, what's the name? There's a fruit in Asia. I've seen in Thailand, they have durian fruit, which I've seen signs in, that's how you spell it, durian. I've seen signs like in hotels and stuff where they say you're not allowed to bring durian into the room because of the smell of the food, or the fruit in this case. So maybe they have a sign saying, don't bring seafood into the room. Maybe no food in the room is a thing. And it made them unable to rent the room, I guess we would say, to rent the room for days. So here we are. So unable to rent the room for days while it was removed. That's the smell was removed. So that it is the smell. Or maybe they catch the crabs in the sea and they've made the good idea to cook them in the kettle. Okay, why not? Why not? Do everything yourself. And I guess that's a nice thing, isn't it? Can you imagine? Thankfully, it was only crabs. Imagine if it was an actual fish or something. That would have been a different sort of thing. I don't think I've ever tried to cook anything in a hotel room. I don't think, or I've ever done that. Or have I? I don't think I have. I remember there was a place I was once where I did toasted sandwiches. I had like a little toaster and I just wanted to try it out. So I made a toasted sandwich in a room once, but that was just to test it out. But yes, but I like the idea that they caught them themselves. That would actually be a good thing. That would be a nice little short movie, I think, a short film. And so the guest challenged that, saying it was unlikely the room would have been booked every day afterward anyway. I'm not sure if they can win that argument in itself. So it sounds as though they're not saying, I didn't do it or something, or it was like, it sounds as though they're saying, yes, I did it. But I think because they're saying we couldn't rent it out because of the odor, the guest is saying, well, you wouldn't have had anyone in there. But I don't think that's the path to not getting a penalty. I would say. I know I would use a different argument. But again, maybe the person didn't want to lie or anything, so that could be as well. Okay, so I'm talking about this, but we're not reading on because we have more answers here. So the hotel conceded that point. This is a nice word. To concede is like to give that point. He said, okay, you're right. You're right. So the hotel conceded. So to concede is a nice verb. You often see concede in some sports. Well, does that sound like in tennis? I guess sometimes they say they concede a set, but obviously generally tennis players try to still go, but and try to participate as best they can. But yeah. But where do they go? Oh, okay, like in chess. Okay, there you go. Like in chess, where you go, I can't win. So the person will lay down their queen, I think it is the queen or the king, lay down the king, and they concede and say, okay, I'm not going to win this. Let's play a new game. We'll start again. Okay, so the original claim was 40,000 yen. So that's around, what would you say, $300, 300 US dollars. And so they considered that point and they reduced their demands to 17,000 yen. Okay, now this time they give us the conversion. Okay, so it's about 130. I'm going to assume that's US dollars as well. For the deodorization of the room. I wonder with like COVID if they sort of like, if they're doing those cleans anyway as a normal thing. I don't know. Maybe not deodorizing when they do the deep clean. And 5,000 yen for a new kettle. 5,000 yen for a kettle. How much is 5,000 yen? Let me just check. So a new kettle, almost $40, 40 US dollars for a kettle. I guess it must be a pretty good kettle. How much is a kettle these days? Well, I guess they don't want to buy the cheapest kettle because they want it to be working and that sort of stuff. But there you go. To cook fish or crustaceans in the room is a mad idea. This kind of preparation leaves a terrible smell. Now, but they're still going to have the smell anyway, aren't they? Afterwards, even if they cook it outside and bring it into the room, because the room is a closed environment, even if they eat them, I think they're still going to have the smell, aren't they? Maybe obviously reduced because of the vapors from the boiling, but they're still going to have the smell, I think. Maybe not as much as, say, with prawns, but I do know that with prawns you can have an incredible smell the next day. Prawns are not the best to leave around, like even like the shells and stuff. But yes, so the guest, however, was still not satisfied with paying any form of restitution. There's a nice word, restitution. And again, whenever we see these words, we need to think, oh, okay, that's a nice word. And I'm saying, okay, that's a good word. But always check when you have a word or you see a word, maybe you can put it down or write it down. Okay, that's an interesting word. But then do like a little analysis and prioritize the words. So I always try and say, pick 4 or 5 words a day and focus on practicing them, but have the priority of the words that either you're going to use the most or that are most important for you. So maybe it may not have a high frequency, but it's going to be important for you to use in a particular situation coming up. And that's what I would say with something like this. So restitution is like compensation. And compensation could be in different ways, different types of things. In this case, the hotel is looking for money. But I guess like if the person said, oh no, I'll buy a kettle and gives them a kettle, that could be a form of restitution. Or like maybe I guess the classic thing, I don't know if this actually ever happens, but you sort of see in like movies and the joke. It's like if people can't pay their bill in a restaurant, they have to go into the kitchen and wash the dishes. I'm not sure if you have this sort of like this joke in other places, but I'm not sure if that actually ever happens. I think the restaurants just say, okay, they take your details and you need to pay later, or with credit cards as well, and that sort of stuff. Anyway, I guess that takes care of most of it. I suppose that they leave the kettle after that because they paid a lot for it. It's yeah, I think so. I think so. I mean, I wonder how much the crabs cost. I wonder if they're going to tell us how much crabs costed, because I don't know, because the I guess the reputation I have, or the image I have, is like buying food in Japan is expensive, but maybe it's like anywhere. It can be cheap or expensive depending on where you go. So I don't know how reasonable the prices are, and we don't know. I don't think it's said anywhere where the hotel is, because maybe obviously it could be different if the hotel's in Japan, or if the hotel is like by the seaside or whatever, or indeed like maybe there could be like a fish market nearby. But yes, okay. And so claiming that the air purifier was turned on while cooking. Okay, well, it must be a good hotel then. I think it must be a good hotel, because I don't know if I've ever been in a hotel where there's an air purifier in the room, unless this is a COVID thing. But I don't think. Okay. Uh, okay, a little bit of interruption there. Apologies for that. It's said to be a little bit of a power off for everything. Everything seemed to reset for some reason. That was very strange. But anyway, we are back. So where were we? Okay, so we're at this air purifier stage. Um, so yes, I think this must be a pretty reasonable hotel because they to have an air purifier in the room. So okay, so he claimed that the air purifier was turned on while cooking, and there was no written rule. Like, this is fantastic. There was no written rule against boiling crabs in the kettle. So, now that's one of those things, isn't it? Well, you didn't say I couldn't boil the crab in the kettle, so that's a interesting list. I wonder where this person is from. If they were like a local, or someone from Japan, or like someone from overseas, just trying to be clever. Let's say. Now this is an interesting little piece here. So the court of public opinion. You often hear this, not necessarily for something like this, like random stories, but often with politics. You'll see this, like for politics and for maybe like with celebrities, and also sometimes maybe like for businesses and that sort of stuff. So the court of public opinion is what people would generally think, the general public, what they would think. In Australia, we have a curious little thing, what we say like in relation to that sort of thing. We say the pub test. So something, for example, I'll say it fails the pub test. So the idea that you go to a pub and it's like you try and explain this to your friends, your mates, and to say like, oh look, this is the situation, this is what I did, or this is what's happening. And in the pub is where people are brutally honest, very, very honest, and they'll say, no, that's not right, that's the wrong way to do it, or whatever it is. So and we often hear that with politics in Australia. It's the same sort of idea as what we see here. So the court of public opinion. Meanwhile, it's like when they change the conversation, sided unanimously. This is a nice verb, to side. Yeah, so to give your opinion either way. Do you support the hotel guest or do you support the hotel? So they sided unanimously. It's like everyone with the hotel in this matter, and felt the guests simply didn't have. Now this is like a little play with words here. The guests simply didn't have a crab leg to stand on. This is like a little bit of humor in the writing here, because they know it's a silly story, of course. Because normally, if you have a leg to stand on, it means you have justification for whatever you're arguing. Yeah, you're right in a way. Yeah, even if, like, say, the business or the other person doesn't admit it, if you have a leg to stand on, there is some correctness with your argument or with what you are saying. But in this case, they're saying they don't have a leg to stand on, and of course the crab leg to stand on. Okay, and then these, I think, are comments here of what people have said. So, okay, so for example here, the person, there's nothing written against drawing on the walls either, but you still shouldn't do it. It is interesting, isn't it? It's a curious thing. And it just goes to show you that no matter what sort of article you find with English, there can always be sort of like, in terms of like, if you look at it in the sense of learning English, there can always be little bits and pieces. But you can also get a little bit of, humor and joy from it as well. Well, this is a good question. Can you even boil crabs in electric kettles? Because the actual spout, like the bit that opens up, I guess it depends, because some of you have the big top that opens all the way up. I guess it was one of those ones. But yes. Okay, and then you've just got some other stuff. So, and then there's other stuff. Okay, Tokyo Luxury Hotel offers month-long stays with free breakfast. Might be cheaper than apartment. But anyway, so they have links to other stories as well. But that's some interesting points there. Now, what I wanted to try and find, I don't know where it is. Here we go. So down the bottom is you have the comment sections. Now you need to log in to comment. But like I was saying earlier, there's if you have the opportunity, or you can find websites, could be a blog or a news site or whatever, where you can add comments. It's a good way. Now these people obviously haven't written the largest amount. It's just like literally like a small comment that they've given. But it can give you the opportunity to write and express an opinion. So indeed, it's a good way to practice in a real situation. And with this one as well, they have I can't remember what they call this, but it's sort of like a positivity sort of scale. So you can vote up or down. I guess you need to be registered, but you can vote up or down on the comments, like you have on like Reddit and like other things, where it's like you can like or dislike, and depending on the amount of votes, they get a ranking or rating. So this one from Thomas Goodtime, great name, from Thomas Goodtime, is a -6 in his ranking. So he says, a strange person. Okay, diagonal slip is quoting a part where we saw the no written rule against boiling crabs, and his comment is, dear oh dear. I wonder why there are so many negative rankings for negative clicks for some of these comments. It's an interesting thing by itself, but it's madness. Yes, the kettle absorbs the smell of the crabs, and after that, you can't use it to make tea, coffee, or mate, which would be I can imagine there would be lots of displeasure in Argentina with if people wreck the kettle and you can't make the mate. Absolutely. But I guess that could actually probably be even more than the room, because I think with the room you can generally air out, but like you say, that's why they need to replace the kettle, because the kettle is tainted, shall we say. Okay, and people like to, and you can see with these comments as well, so it's not just like I say for giving practicing writing, you can also see how people write in different sort of formats. Like with the article, it'll be more formal in a general sense, and then people in the comments write a bit more casually, and that sort of thing. That's why it's also good to, if you have the chance, to listen to talkback radio, where people can call up the radio station and speak to the person in the radio station, and just listen to how normal everyday people speak, where they're not trying to speak clearly, they're not trying to be very careful with their pronunciation, they're just chatting, they're just talking. And that can be very good for listening, especially if you know a lot of the talkback stations, they tend to have topics or talk about the big news for the day in whatever location they are. So if you find a talkback station, say in New York, and if you look at the news for New York, maybe a lot of people will be talking about that, or the same like say for London or for whatever different city. Obviously I picked two big cities, but there could be smaller cities as well. So this person says, sounds like he got a bit crabby when asked to pay for damages. So you get a bit agitated or annoyed when he gets crabby. Really? This is okay. Some guests. Now, I find this interesting. So this note here gets more down votes. Maybe the time is pretty close to each other. Because like -14, this one gets -9. This one's -15 just because they said a strange person. But the person who says, some guests boil their socks and undergarments in hotel kettles, and he gets -5 and plus. It's interesting how people are doing the plus and minus. I don't know who normally reads this website, but anyway. But this itself is a pretty distressing thing. I've never heard of that, but that's a very distressing thing to see. And so, was it Snowy Mountain Hell? It says the manager must have been boiling with anger and wanted to call police. Should have crabbed the guest. Now, okay, so this is, I'm not sure if you, maybe you get this, but I'm going to explain it anyway, just in case. So should have crabbed the guest before they got away, instead of should have grabbed the guest. So it's like, because it sort of rhymes with the sound. So crab to grab. So to grab someone or something, it could be, but to grab. So it's this is, I think we saw the other day. Well, actually, you'll see this a lot. So you'll see puns where people just have like little plays on words, and so this person as well. So they're saying with the boiling with anger, and then crab the guest. So lots of humor, but people loved this one, didn't they? It was a +19 and only -11. It's very curious how people do that. Okay, then they've got another one. So a minute later, they said, from the guest's point of view, caught in a pinch without a pot to hiss in, they utilized what was available. Still seems like hermits or even prior inmate behavior. So an inmate is someone who's, an inmate is the person in a prison, the prisoner. So they're stuck in the prison, of course. So they're an inmate. Okay, it's all puns here, it seems to be. All these people are into puns. So it seems like the guest will have to shell out as the hotel claws back the cost of this crabby behavior, I guess, because behavior doesn't mean anything but behavior. So look at these puns. So to shell out, and this is actually, if you need to shell out, it means like you need to pay money. And normally it's like a large amount of money, large being relative to something, but nice pun there. So to shell out, and this is very genuine, so to shell out, and then to claw back means like to recuperate something, in this case, recuperate the cost, get back the money for the cost for this crabby behavior. Excellent puns there. And again, Snowy Mountain Hell. I'll pass on the in-room complimentary tea and coffee from now on, thanks. Okay. Oh, okay. This is in response to the socks and under. This is the thing. If you learn these sorts of things, or you see these sorts of things, it's the same as, I don't know about you, but if I go to I've actually had this sort of situation more than once, unfortunately, where it's like I go to a restaurant or something, and it can be a bit embarrassing in some ways. And then, like, I tell people, and they can make their own choice. But it's like sometimes you see, I don't know, like you're in the toilet and you see someone from the kitchen in the toilet and they don't wash their hands. And then maybe it could possibly be that they go to the kitchen and they wash their hands in the kitchen, or they go and get a gel in the kitchen or something, and they use antiseptic or whatever, and everything's okay, maybe. But the visual of not seeing particularly someone from the hotel or the restaurant in the kitchen, like wearing their kitchen gear, not washing their hands is a bit, distressing. And then you go back to the table, and then they bring you your food, and then you think, I just can't eat this. I don't think I can eat this. It's and I don't know, and I tell like the rest of the people at the table what I saw, and I was like, and they can make their own choice, but it can be off-putting. That's a nice little expression, to be off-putting. Off-putting. I guess it's how I don't normally write it, you just say it, but to be off-putting is like it puts you off something. It discourages you from doing something or liking something. It is. I'm not sure if that's hug or huge. Either way, okay. But I'm not sure what that was, but okay. So let's see if we've got a couple more comments here. Okay, so we just got, okay, that's why US hotels secure a deposit in advance. But I think most hotels sort of seem to do that anyway. When they ask for the credit card or some type of card, they always, but normally it's not for that sort of thing, I imagine, but normally it's like for damage, in case someone accidentally damages something or drops something or breaks something, is the thing. Or takes something, I guess, is the other thing. But yes. And Guru Mick has a huge -14, negative, and only +2, and he said, "Oh, I laughed, but I guess it's not funny in a way. Sad no one asked how the crabs felt. Won't somebody please think about the crabs?" Okay. This Snowy Mountain Hell, he's really active in this comment here. So he's had pretty high ratings for all his other comments, except for this one. It's +12 but -13. So I think this is his first negative rating. I think, I'm not sure. Yes, another person loving the sense of humor. Okay. So let's have a look. This is, I see, it's a Tomu, let's say, or Atomu. As a hotelier in Japan and elsewhere, I have seen a lot worse than this. Kettles and fridges get used and abused regularly. One of the most memorable incidents was a bride-to-be, I suppose I should have checked these stories before we read it, but anyway, a bride-to-be who decided to hang her wedding dress from a fire sprinkler on the ceiling of their room. I guess because sometimes in rooms there's nowhere to hang things, particularly with a height. And so that could be the only place to hang it. Hello, how are you? It's been a while. I think the last time I saw you was during the quiz. How have you been? I guess it's break time. Or no, maybe class will be over now. Hope you're doing well. Let me know how things are for you. Okay, so the person was hanging their wedding dress from the fire sprinkler on the ceiling of their room. As you might expect, the sprinkler broke, and their room and 3 rooms directly below were all flooded. I wonder if there's this is me just asking random questions again, but I wonder if there's a thing where you can turn off the sprinkler. Maybe just a sprinkler anyway. Maybe if you can turn it off, it's the sprinkler's aim is just to give as much water as possible in a short amount of time. So I guess it doesn't matter if you can turn it off pretty quickly. So they're all flooded. TVs, carpets, bedding, etc., all damaged beyond repair. It's a nice combination. So you have the word damage, which people might know, but then this addition here, beyond repair, or irreparable. You could also say it is another word as an adjective, but damage beyond repair is a nice combination if you ever want to use that. But again, always check how useful it is for you to use. By stinky stained water. Oh, okay, because I guess the water has been there for a long time. and not being used. That would make sense. It cost them a fortune for the damage, but they paid up in full. So to cost a fortune, this is a nice combination as well, just meaning it's very expensive. Okay, thank you, Sonia. Yes, good to see you here as well. Pleasure to have your company as well. Take care. Have a great day. So cost them a fortune. So cost a fortune is expensive, but again, a good combination. So instead of just saying it's expensive, cost them a fortune for the damage, but they paid up in full. Nice phrasal verb here, and a good combination in total. So to pay up means to pay everything, but they're doing the full sentence. So to pay up in full. See you later, Sonia. Take care. Yep. I can't remember what I said now for the yep, but yes. Okay. So thank you and good morning. Is it morning there? Is it morning? Okay, or evening? I don't know. I would have thought it'd be evening. I don't know. It's confusing with the time zone sometimes to know what the time is and where. So they paid up in full, and then they said, "I wonder if their marriage lasted." Oh, well, let's say they could, but it's I suppose they will have a memorable story for their wedding forever. Must write a book one day about guest shenanigans. Now there's a word. You will hear this occasionally. This is probably not a word you will ever really use, but it's maybe a word you will come across from time to time, depending on where or who you speak with or what you read and that sort of stuff. You'll see this. In Australia, we say this. You'll see this sort of stuff. And shenanigans is just sort of like the crazy things that people do. And this is the example, like we read with this story, the guest boiling the crabs inside the kettle in the hotel, or like this story with the person hanging something from the fire sprinkler, that sort of thing. But that would be, I guess, an interesting read about the different things that people get up to. Now, interestingly, I don't know who really rates these. People must be really negative who read this, because it's like -12 for this story. I don't know if they rate, like, if it's -12, like 12 dislikes for this because they think the story is bad, and so like they're saying, oh, bad, or if they just don't like the comment. It seems like a lot of people not liking for I don't know why, what reason. Joe Blow is, I'm not sure if this is just Australia or other places, but we often use Joe Blow to talk about like a random person. There's like just like a normal person on the street or in general public or whatever. So it could be like, let's see what Joe Blow thinks or something like that. But I'm not sure if that's used in other countries as well. But anyway, but yes. So anyway, okay, I think I like this one. So the hotel may not sell the room, but did lose the opportunity to sell the room by placing a room. Okay, but by placing the room not in service. Okay, that's true. Similar cases with cigarette smoke, where many guests in Japan smoke in a non-smoking hotel room. Yeah, I don't really know if the non-smoking room thing really, if they really do that, because I get the feeling that a lot of places, they say it's a non-smoking room, but I have suspicions if that's actually true and that sort of stuff. That's why you link credit cards to a booking. Okay, and that's okay. So you got lots more comments there. So okay, but certainly it's it's quite a good thing if you have, if you can find websites where you can leave comments. I think is a really good thing. So as we can see from this one, you can leave comments on all the stories. It looks like. So if you find that, it's good. Okay, I think I got to listen to some music because I've got an exam tomorrow. Good luck with your exam. Is it an English exam or another one? But either way, whatever it is, good luck. We're going to go very shortly anyway. But thanks for popping in. Good to see you here. Hope the music can bring some calmness and relaxation. Okay. But anyway, so there are lots of stories here. Well, this could be interesting. Some companies try a 4-day work week to offer flexibility to employees. I actually think that's probably a good thing for almost anything. So like a 4 and 3 combination in general, if it's for work or for school, studies, all that sort of thing. I think it's quite a good thing. So, but we won't go into that too much. But there's 35 comments there. That's good. But like I say, if you find a place where you can leave comments and also read comments from everyone, it's a good option. I think it gives a good opportunity. Okay, so this is Have a Tea with me. We are on the Lesson Jigsaw channel. We are here for English language conversation and speaking practice. Now, if you do want to practice your speaking, you just need to click on the link that you will see. That's on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. If you're watching on Twitter, you won't be able to see that that link. But if you go to the other 3, you certainly can. But yes, if you like to come on through and chat, you have that available. We're here Monday to Friday at 12 o'clock Universal Time. And so that's available for you. So I've been talking to myself, but certainly if you want to participate, that will be something that is there for you. And if you're watching on the replay, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget that you can always send us an email, chat on lessonjigsaw@gmail.com. Let us know what you think of the different programs and stuff. And also, if you prefer perhaps a different time, let us know what part of the world you're in and the general times and days that might be more convenient for you. And we'll see if we can arrange a live stream and a chat with you during that time. So yeah, just send us an email. Chat on lessonjigsaw@gmail.com. All right, we're going to leave it there for today. Thank you very much for joining and participating. We'll see you next time. Stay happy and healthy. Dan, thank you very much as well for liking, subscribing, following, all that sort of stuff. It's very helpful.